Hello, I read the article titled Families Find Throwing Laptops and Wi Fi at Students Isn't Enough to Bridge the Digital Divide, written by Evan McMorris Santora and Jan Pomrenzi. In this article, it discusses how many students in the United States do not have adequate internet access, electronic devices, as well as guardians that are competent in how to use the technology. This disparity was further highlighted when the pandemic started in the US, when the pandemic hit the United States in March of 2020. During the pandemic, students were forced to stay at home and learn online via various online educational platforms such as Google Classroom, Nearpod, Zoom, Google Meet, and many other educational platforms. However, a majority of students did not have an electronic device or proper internet access to log on to these online platforms to access their classes. School systems across the nation tried their best to bridge the gap by providing students with laptops, iPads, personal hotspots. But unfortunately, these resources are not very helpful because many students do not have parents at home who are well informed and proficient in the use of technology. Therefore, students may have the resources provided by the school that are necessary to access their classes, but they do not have the support at home to know how to use these resources. This issue is very detrimental to the education system because many students are not receiving the proper education necessary to be successful in school. Additionally, students are falling behind, failing classes, and are missing classes due to the disparity. This issue is especially concerning because this disparity disproportionately affects minority students as well as students from low socioeconomic backgrounds. Furthermore, this issue is very grave because many researchers are surmising that if this issue is not resolved, it could result in a lost generation of students who are not being enriched. Research also has shown that almost all students nationwide have fallen behind, specifically minority students, particularly in math and reading. There is a disparity because many students who come from a primarily Caucasian community with middle to high socioeconomic status have created pods where children are able to form groups where they receive additional educational support at home with adult supervision. Therefore, when students are able to come back to the classroom full-time in a higher grade level, they'll be severely behind their peers and lack the ability to perform on grade level. This issue can be resolved if school systems create after-school programs where school staff can volunteer to teach parents and students how to use the technology provided by the school. This program could be held on Zoom, and educators could cover basic computer skills such as how to turn on the computer, how to access the educational platform that is necessary to operate their electronic devices for schools and for school. And parents would have a chance to ask questions and receive the help necessary to support their children. Additionally, if there was an in-person after-school tutoring program for students, then the students would be able to be guided by a teacher or an aide in how to use their laptops and how to access various educational websites. In the Foundation of Education textbook that we're reading for a class in chapter 11.13, titled Conflicts Theory on Education, mentions how the education system does not help but magnifies the racial and societal inequalities. The chapter also states that conflict theorists believe that students from a low socioeconomic status are not afforded the same opportunities as their peers who come from more privileged backgrounds. Additionally, this chapter also highlights how students who do not have technology at home, such as printers or a computer, suffer because the school system is not aiding them and they lack the necessary support from home. The chapter correlates with the article because it shows how the educational system has not done a great job at aiding minority students or students with disabilities and has actually played a part in perpetuating social inequalities that allow for a majority of students to remain oppressed. In conclusion, the article titled "Families Find Throwing Laptops and Wi-Fi at Students Isn't Enough to Bridge the Digital Divide," written in 2022, shines a spotlight on the disparities within the education system among poor and minority students when it comes to access to technology, the internet, and the knowledge necessary to operate these electronic devices. Additionally, in Chapter 11.13, it further provides evidence to the point that there are larger inequalities in class, gender, race, and abilities that the education system magnifies. These two resources highlight the problems facing educators due to the COVID-19 pandemic and recognizes programs that have been created to help bridge these gaps, such as the REACH program. Thank you. I hope this was helpful and I hope you enjoyed.